I died on my wedding day, choking on the smoke from the fire that swallowed the venue whole. My son screams the last thing I heard as flames licked at my silk gown. In that final, gasping moment, I saw my fiancé's face, not twisted in horror, but smirking from the shadows. The match he'd lit still smoldering in his pocket like a confession. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until I woke up gasping in my own bed. 3 months earlier. The alarm clock blinking 6:47 a.m. On the morning I first met him. My heart pounding with the impossible truth. I was alive again. Armed with the knowledge of every betrayal that would burn me to ash. The room smelled like fresh coffee and lavender from the diffuser on my nightstand. The same one I'd bought at that overpriced boutique in Wicker Park. My hands, trembled as I pushed back the duvet, staring at the faint freckles on my knuckles. The simple gold band from my divorce, still glinting mockingly on my finger. It was real. Chicago sprawled outside my third-floor walk-up window. The L train rumbling in the distance like a distant thunder. But this wasn't some fever dream. The scar on my knee from that biking accident last summer was still there, pink and puckered. I'd gone back. God, or whatever cruel cosmic joke this was, had hit rewind on my life, dropping me right into the breakfast nook of hell. My name is Piper Hayes, 37 years old, single mom to an 8-year-old fireball named Ethan, who deserved a hell of a lot better than the hand we'd been dealt. In my first life, God, that sounds insane even in my head, I'd lost everything. My ex-husband, Tom's sudden accident 2 years ago had left me broke and reeling, drowning in grief and medical bills from Ethan's endless asthma attacks. Enter Mark Riley, silver-tongued venture capitalist with a jawline that could cut glass and eyes like polished obsidian. He swooped in like a knight in a Tesla, funding Ethan's treatments, whispering promises of stability in boardrooms and candlelit dinners. I fell hard, convinced he was the reset button I needed. We got engaged after 6 whirlwind months. Set the wedding for a crisp October afternoon in a rented barn out in Naperville. But Ethan saw through him from day one. My kid, with his messy brown curls and too old for his age stare, would tug at my sleeve during Mark's visits, whispering, "Mom, he's lying. Don't let him stay." I'd laugh it off as separation anxiety, bribe him with extra screen time. What did an 8-year-old know about love? Turns out, everything. On the wedding day, as I floated down the aisle in that gown that cost more than my monthly rent, Ethan bolted from his seat in the front row, face streaked with tears, grabbing my hand and begging, "Please, Mom, we gotta go now. He's gonna hurt us." The guests chuckled nervously, Mark's smile tightening like a noose. I knelt, shushing him, promising ice cream after. Moments later, the sprinklers malfunctioned, or so they said, triggering a gas line explosion. Fire everywhere. Chaos. Ethan vanished in the smoke. I clawed through the inferno, lungs burning, until a beam crushed me. And in the haze, I spotted Mark slipping out a side door, and scathed, phone to his ear, voice calm, "It's done. Clean sweep. Clean sweep." That's when it hit me. Even as the world faded, Mark hadn't just wanted me. He wanted everything. The life insurance from Tom's death? He'd orchestrated that too, planting doubts about my instability to push the payout my way, only to marry in and claim it all. The anonymous tips to child services about my parenting? Him. Testing the waters. And Ethan. God. Ethan was the loose end, The kid who knew too much because he'd overheard Mark on a call, bragging about the hit on Tom. My baby boy had been carrying that secret, protecting me in silence until he couldn't anymore.
Now,
Back in this borrowed time, I wasn't the same wide-eyed widow. Rage simmered in my veins like cheap whiskey, sharp and unrelenting. I had 3 months to unravel Mark's web,
shield Ethan,
and make him pay without dragging us down with him. But revenge in America isn't some tidy Hollywood montage. It's messy, litigious, and full of gray areas that could land you in federal prison. One wrong move, and I'd be the unhinged ex in the headlines. Custody battle lost before it started. No, this had to be surgical. Controversial. Maybe.
but mine.
I swung my legs over the bed's edge, feet hitting the cool hardwood. The apartment was quiet. Ethan's door cracked open down the hall, his nightlight casting a soft glow shaped like a rocket ship. I patted in, heart twisting at the sight of him, curled under dinosaur sheets, thumb half in his mouth. A habit he'd kicked last year, but maybe not yet in this timeline. I brushed his hair back, whispering, "I got you,
Buddy.
this time. For real." He stirred, mumbling something about monsters, and I vowed right there, no more blind trust. No more playing nice in a world that chews up single moms like me. First things first, intel. I grabbed my laptop from the kitchen table, the one with the sticker from Ethan's school science fair peeling at the edges. Mark and I were set to meet tomorrow at that networking event in the Loop, the one where he'd charm me over craft cocktails and tales of Silicon Prairie startups. In my old life, it was electric. Now, it reeked of setup. I needed dirt before he even shook my hand. A quick dive into public records. Thank you. Illinois Sunshine Laws. Pulled up his basics. Born in Evanston. Harvard MBA. Founder of Riley Ventures, a firm that funneled cash into disruptive tech like AI ethics watchdogs that were anything but. But whispers. The real juice was in the forums. The Reddit threads buried under r/Chicago business. Riley's a shark. Swallowed 3 startups last quarter. Founders ghosted. Nothing criminal.
Yet.
Ethan shuffled and then, rubbing his eyes, Spider-Man pajamas rumpled. "Mom, you okay? You look like you saw a ghost." Kid's intuition was a superpower. I forced a smile, scooping him onto a stool at the counter. "Just a bad dream."
Champ.
Pancakes. As I whisked batter, blueberries from the fridge, the ones he'd picked at that You Pick farm last fall, I probed gently. "Hey, what do you think about me dating again? Meeting new people?" He poked at the bowl, serious as a judge. "Only if they're nice to you."
And me.
Promise. My throat tightened. In the life I'd burned through, he'd stopped asking after Mark moved in, eyes dulling like a light left on too long. "Promise," I said, flipping a flapjack high enough to make him giggle. But inside, plans churned. I'd play the long game, reel Mark in just enough to get close, then gut him from the inside. The networking event was at the Godfrey Hotel, all gleaming marble and overpriced charcuterie, the kind of place where ambition hung in the air like cigar smoke. I arrived early, black sheath dress hugging my post-divorce curves, nothing flashy, but enough to turn heads, hair in loose waves. The locket with Ethan's baby photo tucked under my collar. Mark was already there, holding court by the bar in a tailored navy suit, laughing with a cluster of tech bros. Our eyes met across the room, and damn if that spark didn't ignite again. Unwanted but electric. He excused himself, weaving through with that predator's grace, extending a hand. Piper Hayes? Mark Riley. Mutual friend from the nonprofit circuit mentioned you'd be here. Real estate developer. Right? Love what you're doing with those eco-rehab projects in Pilsen. His grip was firm.
Warm.
The cologne, sandalwood, and something sharper hitting me like a gut punch. In my head, I flashed to the wedding. His fingers slick with accelerant, not vows. But I played it cool, tilting my head with a wry smile. Guilty. Though developer sounds so corporate. I prefer urban alchemist. And you venture capital? Must keep you up at night, betting on the next big thing. We bantered, easy as slipping into an old coat, him probing about my tragic loss, me dropping just enough vulnerability to hook him, the late nights balancing blueprints and inhalers, the ache of building a life from Tom's ashes. By the end of the hour, he had my number, and I had his tells, the way his left eye twitched when money came up, the too quick pivot from personal to professional. That night, buzzed on 2 Manhattans and adrenaline, I called my old college roommate, Lena, now a PI in Milwaukee with a nose for bullshit. Pip, it's been forever. What's the play? I paced my living room, Ethan asleep with his sketchpad open to a drawing of us as superheroes. Hypothetical. Guy named Mark Riley. Dig what you can. Finances. Exes. Skeletons. Discreet. She whistled low. Riley? Yeah. I've heard the name. Give me 48 hours. But girl, if it's for a date, run the other way. Sharks like him don't date, they invest. I hung up, staring at the city lights flickering like faulty wiring. 48 hours to pretend, to laugh at his texts about grabbing coffee soon while plotting the slow bleed. The days blurred into a deliberate dance. Mark texted daily, witty, persistent, reeling me in with invites to gallery openings in River North, brunches at Alinea knockoffs. Ethan tolerated him at first. The pizza nights where Mark dazzled with stories of coding apps in his dorm. But cracks showed fast. One evening, after Mark accidentally critiqued Ethan's asthma routine, kid needs discipline. Not coddling, my boy retreated to his room. Door slammed. I found him under the bed, clutching his nebulizer like a shield. He talks like Dad did when he was mad, Ethan whispered. Dad, Tom, had never raised a hand, but the stress of his job had frayed him, words sharp as glass. Mark's barbs were surgical, planting seeds of doubt. That night, I texted Mark back, rain check on dinner. Family stuff. His reply, everything okay?
Here if you need me.
Liar. Lena's report landed via encrypted email a week later. A PDF thick with red flags. Mark's firm had a trail of vanished partners, non-competes, so ironclad they bordered on extortion. An ex-fiancé in Boston. Settlement hushed with an NDA. Rumors of emotional abuse. And the kicker, ties to a shady lender linked to Tom's construction loans, the ones that tanked right before his fall from the site scaffold. Coincidence? Bullshit. Tom's death certificate listed accidental, but the coroner's notes, pulled from public archives, mentioned unsecured harness, a detail that screamed sabotage. Mark had been at a conference in the city that week, alibi airtight. But Ethan. My God. In the old timeline, he'd confessed to me weeks before the wedding. After overhearing Mark on speakerphone, the husband's out of the picture. Next, the payout and the kids' trust. I dismissed it as a nightmare. This time, I believed. Rage boiled, but I funneled it. I needed proof. not paranoia. So I leaned in harder, accepting Mark's invite to a black-tie gala at the Art Institute, the one raising funds for innovative youth programs. Irony thick as the crowd's perfume. He picked me up in his sleek Audi. Ethan waved goodbye from Lena's, my emergency backup, armed with pepper spray and a concealed carry. At the gala, chandeliers dripped light over tuxes and gowns, Mark's arm possessive on my waist as we schmoozed donors. "You're a natural," he murmured, lips brushing my ear. "We make a power couple." I smiled, nails digging crescents into my palm, and excused myself to the ladies' lounge. There, in the marble echo, I hacked his phone, okay?
Not me.
But a burner app from a sketchy dark web contact Lena swore by, synced via the Bluetooth he'd left open during our pre-gala selfie. Files flooded, emails to a fixer named Vince, coded references to Hayes cleanup. One attachment, a grainy photo of Tom's scaffold, time-stamped hours before the fall, with a shadow tampering. And a voice memo, Mark's voice, cool as lakefront fog. Phase 1 complete. Widows ripe, emotional,
Desperate.
kids the wild card, but leverage works wonders. My vision tunneled, bile rising. This wasn't just greed, it was erasure. He hadn't loved me, he'd auctioned me. I deleted the trace, slipped the phone back into his jacket during a slow dance, heart hammering to the strings quartet's swell. As he spun me, whispering about eloping to Napa, I locked eyes with a mirror across the room, my reflection fierce, unbroken. Soon, I thought. But Ethan, always Ethan. The next morning, over oatmeal, he dropped the bomb.
Mom.
I heard Mr. Mark on TV last night, talking about helping kids like me.
But.
I don't like him. He looks at you funny. Funny. Like a wolf eyeing lamb. I pulled him close, breathing in his shampoo scent. What if we test him?
A family day out.
See if he's for real. Ethan's nod was solemn. Okay. But if he's bad, we tell the police? Smart kid. Smarter than me.
Last time.
The test was Millennium Park. Tourists milling under the bean. Summer heat sticking shirts to backs. Mark showed in chinos and a polo. All-American dad vibes. But his eyes scanned like he owned the place. We picnicked, PB and JS from home. Not his catered bullshit. And for an hour, it almost worked. He tossed a frisbee with Ethan, laughing at the kids' wild throws. But then, the slip, Ethan wheezed mid-run, asthma flaring in the humidity. I reached for the inhaler in my bag. Mark beat me to it, holding it out with a condescending pat. Breathe easy. Sport. Moms worry too much. Ethan's face crumpled, and he handed it back untouched, running to me. I can do it myself. Mark's chuckle grated. Touchy. Needs toughening up. That was it, the fracture. Back home, Ethan drew in furious strokes, Mark as a monster with $sign eyes. I hugged him tight. You're right. He's not safe. But calling cops now? No evidence stuck. It'd be, he said. And Mark's lawyers would bury me.
No.
This demanded controversy. A public gut punch. I spent the night scrolling activist forums. The kind where whistleblowers spilled on corporate vipers. One thread caught my eye, exposing VC predators, anonymous drops welcome. I uploaded snippets from the hack, redacted. Untraceable, tagging Riley Ventures. By dawn, replies flooded. This guy's toast. Risky? Hell yes. If traced, I'd be sued into oblivion. But the alternative was worse, letting him win again. Word spread like Chicago wind. By week's end, a local blogger picked it up. Is Riley Ventures the next WeWork wolf? And Mark's texts turned frantic. What's going on? Reporters sniffing around. You hear anything? I played dumb. No idea. Crazy.
Right?
Dinner to decompress?
He bit.
Suggesting his penthouse overlooking the lake. Trap set. The dinner was a masterclass in tension. Candles flickered on linen. Steak bleeding rare on plates. Skyline glittering like fool's gold. Ethan was with Lena. Video call on standby.
Mark poured wine.
Eyes probing. Piper. Level with me. You seem distant. I sipped. Steady. Just life. Tom's anniversary coming up. Ghosts. He leaned in, hand on mine. I can be your future. Marry me.
Now.
Courthouse tomorrow. The ring he slid across the table, emerald-cut diamond. Obscene carats, was the same from before. My skin crawled. Bold. But Ethan. He needs time. Mark's mask slipped, voice dropping. The boy's a package deal. But think trust funds, private schools. Stability. Stability. Code for control. I feigned tears. Buying seconds. It's just. After Tom. Trust is hard. He softened, or pretended to, pulling me close. That's when I hit record on the hidden mic in my necklace, Lena's tech. Tom was weak, he murmured. Breath hot. Sloppy debts. I fixed it for you, paid off the loans, made it look like an accident. All so we could start clean. Confession. Gold. But he wasn't done. The kid's next if he interferes. Simple leverage. Ice in my veins. I pulled back. Eyes wide. What did you say? Mark blinked, realizing. Nothing. Forget it. No chance. I stood. Voice steel. You killed my husband. You planned to kill my son. And me? Collateral. His face drained, scrambling for denial. Piper. You're hysterical. Sit down. I laughed.
Cold.
Hysterical? Like the exes you silenced? The partners you vanished. The mic caught it all. Streaming live to Lena's server. Auto-posting to that forum if I whispered a code. It's over.
Mark.
The world's watching. He lunged then, not violent, but desperate. Grabbing my wrist. You think you can touch me? I own this city. Struggle brief. Table crashing. Wine spilling like blood. I twisted free. Knee to his gut, self-defense class paying off and bolted for the door. Heart slamming. Down the elevator. Out into the night air sharp with lake chill. Uber screeching up. Safe. By morning, it exploded. The forum post went viral, Riley exposed trending on X. News vans clogging Michigan Avenue. Mark's arrest came swift. Wire fraud. Conspiracy to commit murder. The works. Feds swarmed his offices. Unearthing a Ponzi empire preying on desperate startups. Ethan's testimony, reluctant, but damning, sealed it. The overheard call. The fear in his eyes.
But the twist?
In the chaos. Digging through Mark's seized files. Cops uncovered Tom's accident was just the tip. Mark had a partner, a silent one. My own brother. Jake. The supportive uncle who'd pushed me toward Mark, whispering he'd vetted him. Jake, drowning in gambling debts, had fed Mark intel on Tom's finances for a cut. Family. The betrayal cut deepest. A knife twist in the gut. Confrontation in a sterile precinct room. Jake blubbering apologies. Ethan watching via video from a safe house. I did it for us.
Pip.
For Ethan.
Lies.
I walked out, cutting ties forever. The scar deeper than any fire. Months later. Trial wrapped Mark and Jake. 20 to life. I sold the story, rights to a true crime pod, funding Ethan's therapy and a down payment on a brownstone in Logan Square. No more walk-ups. No more fear. Ethan and I, under cherry blossoms in our new backyard. He sketches while I grill burgers. Mom, he says one evening, chalk on his fingers. You saved us. I ruffle his hair, throat tight. We saved each other. Kid. Second chances aren't fairy tales. They're grit and gamble. The kind that leaves you questioning if the cost was worth the win. But as the sun dips, painting the sky arson orange.
I know. Hell yes.
I'd burn it all again for this. Waking up that first morning back in time felt like surfacing from a drowning, lungs full of air I didn't deserve, body heavy with memories that didn't belong. But survival's a bitch, and mine kicked in fast. I showered hot and hard, scrubbing away the phantom soot from a death that hadn't happened yet, then dressed in jeans and a blouse that said, approachable but not desperate. Ethan was up by 7, rummaging for cereal, his backpack slung over one shoulder for school drop-off.
Mom.
You gonna be late for work again? He asked, milk dribbling down his chin. Work, my fledgling firm. Hayes Urban Revive. Scraping by on grants to flip abandoned lots into community gardens. In the old timeline, Mark had invested, turning it into his vanity project. This time, solo. I dropped him at Lincoln Elementary, the brick facade buzzing with kids and crossing guards, promising extra recess if he aced spelling. His hug lingered, little arms fierce. Love you to the moon, Mom.
Moon.
We'd promised that under hospital fluorescence during his last flare-up. Driving to the office, a cramped second-floor space above a taqueria in Pilsen. Murals splashing color on peeling walls, I blasted Springsteen. Born to Run, windows down. Wind whipping regrets away. But focus sharpened on the rearview. Mark's world was a house of cards. I just needed the gust. The day dragged in meetings, zoning board emails. Supplier bids for native prairie plants, but my mind mapped contingencies. What if Lena's dig came up dry? Back up. Tell him myself. That Junker Nikon from my photo hobby days. Evening brought parent-teacher night. Mrs. Delgado praising Ethan's vivid imagination in art class, showing me his latest, a family picnic. Stick figure me with a speech bubble. No bad guys allowed. Gut punch. Home to mac and cheese and bedtime stories, where the wild things are. His favorite, I wove in lessons. Max roared at the monsters. But he sailed home. Smart. Right? Face him. Then leave. Mark's first text pinged at 9:17 p.m. Great connecting last night. Coffee this week? Your insights on sustainable builds blew me away. Insights. He'd called them adorable pipe dreams in private, once the ring was on. Reply, sounds fun. Thursday, Intelligentsia in Logan. Neutral ground, crowded, witnesses. His yes came with emojis, coffee cup,
Hard eyes. Creep.
Thursday dawned gray. Drizzle slicking streets. Umbrellas blooming like black flowers. Intelligentsia hummed with laptop warriors and stroller dads. The scent of fresh roast cutting the damp. Mark arrived 5 minutes early. Suit crisp. Carrying 2 lattes, oat milk for me.
Spot on.
Figured you'd go plant-based, he said, sliding into the booth. Charm offensive. We talk shop, his latest fund targeting green tech. My rehab projects in the back of the yards. You're fighting the good fight, he said, eyes locking. Most women in your spot would have cashed out after. You know.
Tom.
The hook. I sipped, masking flinch. Grief's a motivator. Builds character. Under the table. My phone recorded audio. Just in case. He leaned in, voice dropping. Tell me about him.
Tom.
What was he like? Fishing. In the old life. I'd spilled, his laugh like thunder. How he'd dance me around the kitchen to Motown. Mark had weaponized it, mocking sentimental sap to erode me.
Now.
I paired it, steady. Loved Ethan fierce. Miss that. Mark nodded. Sympathetic. Sounds like a loss. But hey, second acts. Ever think about partnering up? I could fund your next flip.
The bait.
I demurred, laughing it off. Tempting. But I'm gun-shy on investors. By meet's end, he'd floated 3 more dates. I accepted one, a Cubs game. Family-friendly. Ethan Buffer. Lena called that night, voice crackling from her drive back from a stakeout. Pip. This guy's slime. Ex in Philly sued for harassment, dropped after a settlement north of $200K. Financials? Offshore shells in the Caymans. Funneling to. Wait for it. A shell company that insured Tom's projects. Cozy. Cozy. My stomach nodded. Keep digging. Anything on the day of the fall? On it. But watch your back, this dude's connected. Old money. Chicago PD donations.
Hung up.
I poured bourbon, cheap stuff from the corner store, and scrolled Tom's obit photos, him grinning at a White Sox tailgate. Ethan on his shoulders. I see you. Babe. I whispered to the empty room. We'll fix this. The Cubs game was Wrigley Field on a sticky Friday. Vines climbing the outfield walls. Beer vendors hawking old styles. Ethan bounced in his tiny jersey, fist pumping at a foul ball. Mark played Uncle Perfect, hot dogs all around, high fives after a homer. But under the bleacher roar, I watched, his phone buzzed constant, thumbs flying to delete threads. One glance over his shoulder. Burner number. Text. V. Status on cleanup? Loose ends tie off. Cleanup. My blood iced. Ethan, oblivious, tugged Mark's sleeve. Mister, you like baseball? Mark ruffled his hair. Too rough.
Sure. Kid.
Win or lose. It's the game.
Game.
Ethan's smile faltered. He sidled to me, whispering, he smells like lies. Post-game. Traffic jammed on Lakeshore Drive. Mark behind the wheel of his SUV, me and Ethan in back. Safety. He probed Ethan gentle-like. School treating you okay? Friends. Kid shrugged.
Yeah.
But asthma sucks. Mom says it's like having a dragon in your chest. Mark chuckled. Dragons are cool. Slay 'em with meds. But his eyes flicked rear view. Appraising. I caught it, the calculation. Weighing the asset. Rage flickered. I banked it. Humming along to the radio, Journeys don't stop believin'. Believin'. In justice. Maybe. That weekend, I took Ethan to the shed aquarium. Dolphins arcing through blue tanks. His face lit like Christmas.
Mom.
They're free in there? Or trapped? Deep question from an 8-year-old. Bit of both, I said, thinking of Mark's cage. But they choose their swims. Home. Unpacking souvenirs, a plastic shark, he asked flat out. You like Mr. Mark? Honesty hour. Trying to. But if he hurts your feelings, we stop. Deal? Fist bump sealed it. Night fell, I hacked deeper. Using Lena's VPN to breach Riley's public investor portal, glitchy backdoor from a disgruntled ex-employee forum. Jackpot. Spreadsheets linking Mark to Tom's lender. Payoffs time-stamped pre-fall. And a folder. Hayes file. Photos of our apartment building. Ethan's school route. Stalking logs. Son of a bitch. Monday brought the pushback. Mark's email. Saw your firm's RFP for the South Side lot. Let's collab, my treat. Trap. I countered, appreciate it. But independent for now. His call followed. Voice velvet over gravel. Piper. Don't shut me out. We're good together. Subtext, I know things. Chills. But I held, citing deadlines. Hang up. I fortified, changed locks, installed cams, ring doorbell, motion alerts. Ethan noticed the drill. Bad guys coming? Just smart. Buddy. Like superheroes. Lena's next drop was dynamite. Audio from a bug she'd planted at Mark's club, golf buddies griping. Riley's eyeing that widow, Hayes. Kid's a hassle. But the insurance windfall? Sweet. And Vince, the fixer, mentioned by name. A ex-cop with a rap sheet for arson. Arson. The wedding fire flashed, sprinklers failing, gas ignited. Premeditated blaze. I puked in the sink, then rallied. Time to escalate. I started small leaks, anonymous tip to the Sun-Times ethics desk, VC firm ties to construction fatalities. No names, but breadcrumbs. Response, a reporter emailed, sniffing. Interested in Riley? Got docs. I fed snippets. Redacted. Meanwhile, Mark Amp charm, flowers delivered, roses. My favorite from spilled intel, notes. Thinking of you. Ethan tossed them. Thorny. Like him. The gala loomed. My infiltration key. Prep. Self-defense refresher with Lena. Krav Maga in a gritty West Side gym. Punches to solar plexus.
Knee strikes.
Aim low. Twist out, she coached. Ethan drew me as Wonder Woman. Cape flowing. Confidence surged. Gala night. I slipped into emerald silk. Heels clicking marble. Mark's arm a live wire. Schmooze circuit. Handshakes with aldermen. Whispers with philanthropists. He name-dropped Tom casual. Piper's late husband built solid. Shame about the mishap. Mishap. I smiled razor-sharp.
Yes.
Tragic. Bathroom hack. Phone in pocket. App running. Files downloaded. Vince's contract. Payout schedules. Voice memo. Hayes wedding. Insure total. No survivors. Total. My hands shook zipping his jacket. Composure cracked only in the mirror. Tears hot. For Tom. For Ethan. Dance floor waltz. His grip tightening. Marry me.
Piper.
Make it official. Ring proffered, same stone. Cursed. Elopement. Spontaneous. I stalled. Ethan. He pressed. We'll handle him. Handle. Mike caught the venom. Pull away. Feign swoon. Code whispered to Necklace. Post now. Chaos erupted mid-song, his phone exploding with alerts. Face ashen. What the? I slipped free, weaving through gowns. Piper. Wait. Out the door. Valet ticket clutched. Night air slap. Uber to Lena's. Ethan safe. Asleep on her couch. By 2 a.m. Feeds ablaze. Leaks live. Justice Verhey's trending. Mark's empire cracking. But dawn brought the real storm. Jake called brother. Confidant. Traitor. Pip, what's this shit online? Mark's furious, says you're framing him. Framing. I laughed bitter. Ask him about Tom. Or the cleanup. Silence. Then click. Hung up. Intuition screamed. Family meeting.
Now.
I met Jake at our old diner in Bridgeport for mica counters. Coffee black as sin. He slid in, eyes darting. Sis. Listen, no. You listen. Laid it out, payoffs.
Logs. Vince.
His face crumpled. It was debts.
Pip.
Mark promised help. Tom was collateral. Accident to settle scores. Collateral. My husband. Ethan too. He nodded. Ashamed. Planned. But I backed out, told Mark no more. Liar? Maybe. Cops later confirmed Jake's wire transfer. Partial. Partial betrayal still bleeds. I left him there, coffee cold, walking into drizzle. Call to reporter. Full docs. On background. Story broke noon. Venture capitalists linked to fatal accident. Family ties exposed. Jake arrested by evening. Mark's bail denied. Ethan and I hold up ice cream. Movies. The Incredibles. Family sticks, he said. Popcorn kernel stuck in teeth. Even when bad? Twist hit week 2. Immunity deal. Jake flipped. Testifying Mark's ringleader, arson bids. Insurance scams on multiple widows. My brother's sentence. 5 years.
Plea.
Mercy? Controversial as hell. Forgive blood. But for Ethan, who asked Uncle Jake coming to Thanksgiving? I nodded. Changed men get chances. Life rebuilt. Firm boomed on whistleblower buzz. Grants pouring. New home. Brownstone with a swing set. Evenings. Ethan and I under stars. Telescopes from the Adler gift shop. Mom. You think Dad sees us. Every day. Kid. Second life. Scarred. But soaring. No wedding bells, just us. Unbreakable. The leaks I'd planted started as ripples, anonymous posts on niche boards, coded tips to investigative pods, but they swelled into a tsunami by the second week. My inbox flooded. Reporters from Cranes. Podcasters sniffing true crime gold. Even a producer from Dateline emailing, your story screams injustice. I ghosted most. Feeding only the Sun-Times guy.
Cal.
A dogged vet with a mustache like a 70s cop show. Off record first, I'd insisted over burner phone. Then, if it sings, embargo till I say. He agreed. Voice gravelly. Riley's got friends in high places. Hayes. You sure? Sure?
Hell no.
But certainty's a luxury for the dead. I was playing with borrowed bones. Ethan sensed the shift. My phone buzzing constant like a hornet's nest. School pickup. He'd climb in the passenger seat. Backpack thumping.
Mom.
Why's everyone staring? Teachers whispering in clusters. Parents side-eyeing at PDA. Small town in a big city. Gossip travels faster than the L. Just work stuff.
Champ.
Grown-up boring.
Lie.
But kids heal quick. A detour to Garrett's popcorn, cheddar caramel mix. His crack erased the frown. Home. I'd check cams, no shadows. But paranoia itched. Mark's silence post-gala? Ominous.
Then.
The card, handwritten, slipped under door. We need to talk. Neutral ground.
M.
Neutral, the bean. Midday Saturday. Tourists oblivious. I went armed, Mason purse. Lena tailing in her unmarked Civic. Mark waited by the mirrored sculpture. Trench coat flapping. Face gaunt under the urban shine. No charm now. Eyes hollow. Piper. This madness, it's you. Isn't it?
Direct.
I crossed arms. Wind tugging hair. Madness? Try truth. Tom's murder. Ethan's hit list. The fire you planned for us. He paled, glancing round. Lower your voice. It wasn't like that.
Bull. But he leaned in.
Desperate. Jake, your brother, he came to me. Debts up to his eyeballs. Offer dirt on Tom for a bailout. The fall?
Sloppy.
But necessary. I cleaned up.
Cleaned.
Like dishes. And me, voice steady, but heart jackhammered. The perfect mark. Grieving widow. Pliable. Wedding payout doubles if it's tragic. He flinched hit. It got out of hand.
Ethan.
The kid talked too much. I panicked.
Panicked.
My fist clenched. Lena's text buzzed. Recording clear. Abort if hot. Out of hand, I echoed. Like torching a barn full of innocents, Mark's mask shattered.
Pleading.
Help me spin it. Say it was Jake's solo. We disappear. Europe. New names. For us.
Us.
Laughable. I stepped back. Voice ice.
Rot. Mark.
You're done. Turned. Walked away. His shout lost in crowd roar. You'll regret this. Regret? The only one was trusting serpents in sheep's wool. Back home. Ethan building Lego empires on the rug. I collapsed beside him. Rough day, he asked, not looking up.
Nah.
Conquered a dragon. He grinned, handing me a brick. Build with me? Hours melted. Fortress against villains. But night brought doubts. What if Mark lawyered up? Countess sued for defamation? Custody grabs. Painting me unstable? America's courts chew moms. I needed armor. Cal's story dropped Monday. Front page digital. Chicago VC's dark web. Murder. Fraud. And a widow's revenge. Byline screamed details. Vince's sheet. Offshore trails. Tom's harness photo. Quotes from sources close. Mine.
Veiled.
Twitter. X. Whatever. Ignited. Piper Hayes hero versus Riley innocent. Trolls swarming. Mark's firm shuttered overnight. Partners fleeing like rats. Jake called from lockup. Collect. Sis. He's pinning it all on me. Help. Help. After selling out family, earn it in court, I snapped. Hung up. Nausea churning. Betrayal's poison lingers. Ethan's school called Tuesday. Bullying incident. Boys teasing him about mommy's killer boyfriend. My blood boiled. Pick up early. Principal's office stuffy with excuses. Kids are resilient. Hayes. Resilient.
Like me?
Post Tom? Ethan's silent in the car. Fists balled. They said you're a liar. But you're not. Right? Throat closed. Never to you. Baby. Ice cream therapy, Ben and Jerry's. Spoon duels, then home for talks. People say mean things when scared. Doesn't make 'em true. He nodded. Drawing. Mia's shield. Him safe behind. Lena crashed that night. Pizza boxes piling. Wine uncorked. Feds are circling. Rico vibes on Riley's crew. Rico. Mob shit in suits.
Good.
But Ethan's paying. She squeezed my hand. Collateral's the game. You're winning. Winning. Felt like surviving shipwrecks. Escalation came via email. Mark's attorney. Slick loop firm. Cease and desist. Libelous claims. Retract or litigate. Copy to child services. Instability concerns. Classic. I forwarded to Cal. Fuel. His reply. Follow-up piece. Widow targeted. Smear campaign? Public pressure mounted. Protests outside Riley HQ. Empty now. Signs. Justice for Tom. Donations trickled to my firm. Crowdfund for survivor-led rebuilds. But the gut twist. Ethan's nightmare. 3 a.m. Screams yanked me awake, him thrashing. Fire.
Mom.
Run. Wedding echo. I held him. Rocking. Not real. We're safe. But morning brought the call. Vince. From a payphone. Voice gravel. Back off.
Hayes.
Or the kid's next, real this time.
Click.
Panic clawed. I bundled Ethan. Drove to Lena's. Sirens in my head. Police report filed. Chicago PD. Detective with tired eyes. Threats are common. Got evidence. The email chain. Memos. Will watch. Watch. Cold comfort. Hiding out. I plotted finale. The wedding date. In timeline 1. October blaze, now. Expose at the venue. Rented it cheap. Post-leak. Desperate owners, framed as empowerment event. Invited press. Supporters. Even Jake via video from county. Mark got the bait. Forged save the date. One last chance. Come alone.
He bit. Arrogant to the end.
Day of. Naperville barn. Autumn leaves carpeting grounds. Tents stark white. Ethan in vest. Holding my hand, grown-up roll. You sure? Mom. Positive. Guests filtered. Cal. Pod host. Activists. No vows. Podium instead. Mark arrived late. Suit rumpled. Eyes wild. Piper. What is this? I faced him. Mic hot. Crowd hushed. Your end. Played the tapes, confessions, threats, gasps rippling. He lunged. Security, Lena's crew, pinned him. Lies. She's crazy. But evidence mounted. Phones recording. Cops swarmed post-reveal. Cuffs clicking. Twists dropped then. Jake's live feed.
Tear-streaked.
Mark recruited me, forced. But I covered for him on Tom. Forgive me. Crowd murmured. Controversial. Sympathy for the snake? I paused. Ethan squeezing. Justice first. Then. Maybe. Mark spat as dragged. You'll bury with this. Empty threat. Aftermath. Headlines hailed Piper's stand. Trials merged. Mark's life bid. Jake's 10 with restitution. I testified calm. Ethan's drawing pinned to my lapel. Family unbroken. Verdict day. Rain-lashed windows, we watched news. Popcorn forgotten. Guilty, anchor intoned. Ethan cheered. I exhaled decades. Rebuild. Firm expanded.
Écovillage sprouting.
Ethan thrived, new school. Braces gleaming. Soccer star. Dates? Slow coffee with a landscaper. Laughs easy. No rush. Evenings. Porch swings. Fireflies dancing. Best life. Ethan yawned one night.
Best.
Borrowed. But ours. The trial wasn't justice. It was theater. A threering circus of suits and sobs under fluorescent glare. Cook County Courthouse. Marble halls echoing footsteps like accusations. Security wands beeping at briefcases stuffed with damning docs. I sat front row. Ethan with Lena in witness prep, too young for the gore, but old enough to sketch the gavel as a sword. Mark. Orange jumpsuit clashing his tan. Glared daggers across the well. Jake. Beside him in plea gray. Avoided my eyes. Cowards move. Prosecutors paraded. Cal's articles as exhibits. My hacks authenticated via forensics wizardry.
MS.
Hayes, the ADA pressed. Walk us through the confession recording. I did. Voice steady, Gallo whispers. Penthouse snarls. Jury, blue-collar mix. Faces etched skepticism leaned in. Defense hammered. Fabricated. Motive? Bitter, jilted lover. Bit my tongue, jilted? I jilted the grave. Expert testified. Audio clean. Timestamps ironclad. Vince cracked on stand. Sweat beading. Riley paid $50K, scaffold tamper. Wedding mishap. Mishap. Gasps. Mark's flinch sold it. Jake's turn gutted. Debts. Mark dangled lifeline. Tom's fall, my idea. But his execution. Execution. Literal. Tears tracked. I stared stone. Ethan's words echoing. Bad guys get chances? Controversial. Brothers' remorse real? Jury deliberated 2 days. Deliberations leaked. Deadlock on Jake. Unanimous on Mark. Verdict read Friday. 10:47 a.m. Guilty. All counts, murder 1. Conspiracy.
Fraud.
Mark's snarl. Bought jury. Bailiff dragged. Jake's plea. 15. Reducible for testimony. I met his eyes, then plea silent. Forgiveness? Not yet. Outside. Press mobbed. Flashes blinding. Mics thrusting. Piper Hayes. Hero or vigilante?
Hero.
But vigilante's shadow lingered. Hacks illegal? Leaks unethical? Ethics be damned. Survival's gray. Life post-verdict. Exhale long deferred. Firm boomed. Clients flocking. Piper principle, buzzword for ethical builds. Southside project broke ground. Community center. Playground etched for Tom. Ethan unveiled plaque. Shovel comically big. Dad would have loved slides.
Loved.
Past tense. But present in us. Jake's letters started month 2. Jailhouse scrawl. Rebuilding me for you. Controversial correspondence. Burn or bridge. I filed them. Neutral. Ethan peeked one. Uncle says sorry. Does he mean it? Kid wisdom. Time tells. New rhythms. Mornings. Ethan biking to school, helmet fierce. Me in hard hat. Overseeing crews. Evenings. Kitchen chaos. Tacos Tuesdays. His specialty now. Guac chunky. Dates ventured. Alex. The architect from a bid meeting. Kind eyes. Laughs at my sarcasm. First kiss under porch light.
Tentative.
No rush, he said.
Good man.
But ghosts whispered. Anniversary Tom's death. Rain sheeting windows. Ethan and I at gravesite, simple stone. Beloved builder. Picnic spread. Subs. Root beer. Tell me a story, Mom. I did. Tom's first date. Stealing me from a bad blind setup. Dancing in a laundromat to quarters jukebox. Laughter through tears. Home. Bonfire and fire pit. Photos torched. Ashes to wind. Closure? As much as scars allow. Twist lingered. Mark's appeal. Pro SE screed from Supermax. Hayes framed me. Witch hunt. Dismiss Swift. But fan mail trickled. True crime buffs. Conspiracy nuts. One chilled. Knew Riley's dad, old scores. Watch the kid. Paranoia redux? Beef security, private eye on retainer. Turned out bunk. Grudge holdover. Not threat. Still. Vigilance etched permanent. Ethan's growth stunned. 9th birthday. Laser tag bash. Friends piling.
Mom.
You're my hero. Hero. Flawed. Hacks haunted dreams. Moral corners cut. But for him, worth every shadow. Summer hit. Road trip west. Route 66 echoes. Diner's greasy spoon. Grand Canyon rim. Ethan gaping. Infinite. Like second chances.
Back.
Brownstone bloomed, garden plot. Tomatoes twisting. Alex joined barbecues. Tentative uncle. Jake paroled early, good behavior. First visit awkward. Coffee shop neutral. Ethan fidgeting. Uncle. Hug hesitant. Then tight. Forgiveness? Trial balloon. Controversial. Bloods pull strong. Fall wedding season mocked. I skipped invites. Toasting solo with Merlot. Reflection. Revenge cathartic. But hollow without joy. Vowed more. Volunteer at Ethan's shelter. Coding for kids. Irony. Teaching ethics in tech. Climax echo. 1 year post-trial. Gala Redux, my firm's fundraiser. Art Institute aglow. No mark, instead. Cal keynoting. Piper Hayes, blueprint for bravery. Speech short, not hero. Mom fighting for tomorrow. Applause thundered. Ethan beamed front row. Date in tiny tucks. After. Rooftop toast, city sprawl diamond dust. Alex's hand warm. Proud, relieved. Ethan tugged. Dance? Mom? Like Dad taught. We did under stars. Motown Phantom. No fire. No please. Just us. Ending? No tidy bow. Life's jagged, betrayal's scar. But heel crooked strong. Mark rots, Jake rebuilds. Distant. Me, alive. Truly, trunks and not curse.
Gift.
Ethan's beg at that non-wedding? Never uttered. Instead, his grin as I marry the future. Reason why? Loves the spark, defend it fierce. And in quiet moments, Tom's voice whispers, well played. Pipes. Yeah. Well played. Word count, 976, adjusted for total 4,000 across parts.